The inspirational leader is a role model. And this is because your team watch you much more than you realize. They're always watching what you do, and they're going to copy what you do. And in fact, someone told me a while ago, the problem is they copy the bad things much more than they copy the good things. So anything you do that's bad, they'll immediately all copy that, and they're watching you all the time. It's quite a scary thought, really, but unfortunately it is a reality of life. You are a role model, and you've got to be perfect all the time, or as near as you can be. So what sort of things would they be looking for? What sort of things should you do? Well, first of all, be approachable. Because they're always wondering, can I talk to them? And I think we're more frightened of our bosses than our bosses realize. So if you're a boss and you think you're approachable, remember that you may not be. And approachable means even if you're busy, when somebody comes to see you, you mustn't go, oh, what is it now? Because then they're going to think, oh, my boss is scary. I'm never going to ask them for help ever again. So make sure you're not a scary boss. Always be approachable. The next one is never get angry. Always remain calm and positive about mistakes. Even if they've just deleted everything on the computer, you just got to say, that's okay. I'm here to help. Let's have a look at what's happened. Never say, oh, what have you done? And I think these are difficult things that I'm telling you now. When you're under pressure, you're tired, it's been a long week, and some idiot does something really stupid, you've got to just calmly say, okay, no worries. Let's see how we can put it right. Never get angry. The next role model thing, I think, is calm statements about what's acceptable and what isn't. So if someone does something that you think is not good, rude to a customer or something like that, just say to them, that's not acceptable. We've got to do that better. Don't get angry with the person. Don't attack the person. Don't say they're useless. Just calmly say, this is what's acceptable and this is what isn't. So everybody knows what the rules are. And linked to this is always being positive. We can do it. If there's a problem, we can fix it. If there's a big demanding goal that we're all trying to achieve, we can do it. If you say, oh, I just don't think this is going to work, then that's just terrible, isn't it? Everybody goes, oh, we can't do it. They're all copying you. They're all looking to you to see whether you're positive or not. So you have to have a belief. And I think it's very hard to act and pretend to be positive if you're not really. Oh, yes, I think we can definitely do this. So you've got to actually believe that you definitely can do it. And then that will then transmit to your team. So positive belief in your head before you even start talking to people. Another thing that they're always looking for is what you focus on. So always focus on the good side of things. We'll come to this in a bit more detail later, but think of the good. I've noticed, for example, that the Liverpool football manager, Jurgen Klopp, he claps when they miss the goal. When someone takes a shot and they miss, he claps. I remember thinking, that's weird. Why is he doing that? But what he's saying is, it's great that you got that far. It's great that you managed to take a shot. And okay, you missed, but it doesn't matter, because next time it's going to go in the goal. So brilliant, you nearly did it. So always focusing on the good things, even when things don't work out. At least they nearly got there. The next thing is to be a role model with the customers, because again, your team are all watching to see what you're like with a customer. So really patient, really friendly, really nice with customers, even if that may not be how you feel, because your team are looking at you and they're looking for any excuse to not bother with customers who might be a waste of time. So you've got to be super patient, really, really good with every customer. Another aspect of being a role model is you've got to be honest. And your team are looking at you all the time. They're thinking, how is this person authentic? Are they telling me the truth? Are they honest? And I think sometimes that means admitting that you have worries and problems. I think this is not the same as not being positive, but admitting that you don't always know the answer, but you're going to be able to solve it. It's going to be fine. Admitting that there is a problem, but that you're going to be able to find a solution. I think if you're not honest, then people are going to know. If you say, no, there's not a problem with this, that customer is fine, or that product never goes wrong, everyone thinks, well, yes, it does. So I think if you're not honest, they'll immediately know that. And I think being honest with your team is really, really important. And linked to this is never criticize people behind their backs. Because if you say to Louise, oh, that Miles, he's hopeless, isn't he? I can't believe he did that. Then she's thinking, what does he say to Miles? What does he say about me? And you probably know people who criticize other people behind their backs. And I bet you've been thinking, what do they say about you? Am I their only friend? Am I the only person they think is good? That seems unlikely. So don't criticize other people behind their backs, because then that's going to spread. The next one, I've just got two more things, is support your boss. Now, this is a difficult one because I think you've got to support your boss, but also be honest. So when your people come to you and say, the big boss has asked us to do this and it's a rubbish idea, it's really important not to go, I know, isn't it? But we better do it. Then you're undermining your boss. You absolutely must say, no, I think it's a good plan. I know it looks difficult, but he or she is right and we need to do this. Now, what if you don't entirely agree with the boss's plan? You can still be honest and you can say, well, look, I know it looks difficult, but they know about these things. They've got the bigger view. And although we can't see why, I think we've got to follow it. I think it's good to say to your team that it's hard to be the big boss. And if they're saying, the big boss shouted at me, he's not very nice, you can say, but it's hard to be him or her. Say to them, you wouldn't want to be that managing director. I wouldn't want to be doing that job. It's a really difficult job. And generally, I know he got a bit impatient just now, but, it's hard to be him. And generally, he's pretty good. So I think you must be supportive of your boss, but also be honest if you can. And my final thought about being a role model is keep learning yourself. Keep going on training courses, keep developing, because then your people will look at you and they'll think, well, he or she goes on training courses all the time, so that's obviously the thing that I should be doing as well. Because you mustn't be saying to them, you've got to improve, but I'm already perfect. And I've known quite a few bosses who've never gone on a training course because, I'm the boss now, I don't need to. So always keep learning, because that's an example you're setting to your team. So that's quite a long list. We'll make it as a downloadable document you can look at. And I'd suggest, have a read back through that list and just think, are there any ways that I could be a better role model for my team?